The Switch is such a tremendous console for platformers. Between Nintendo greats like Mario and Donkey Kong, and nearly countless incredible indie releases, there is a lot to love on this system for 2D fanatics like myself. Today I want to take a look at some great platformers that have a physical release but don't really get talked about much. I could do an entire channel dedicated to this, so this only is a tiny scratch on the surface, and I'll definitely do some more of these. In the meantime, let me know some of your favorite obscure platforms that never get talked about in the system. Preferably ones with a physical release, but I'm always looking for undiscovered 2D gems. So let's get into it. I am not a big fan of clowns. When I was like 6 years old, my brother was assaulted by one at a birthday party. It was terrifying. He hit the clown on the head with a balloon while he was face painting. The clown then let out a death-piercing screech as he grabbed my brother by the neck, ran him across the room into a wall, and threatened his life, all while staying in character. It was literally the stuff of horror movies. But Ao the clown is here to quelch all of our fears around this terrifying creature. He's an adorable little clown on a noble quest to save his best friend, an adorable little puppy. His quest will take him through an incredibly fun platformer that is kind of a little reminiscent of the Yoshi series, at least in how charming it is. The backgrounds are bright and varied, everything has a really colorful look, the visual style here is just adorable. It's one of those games that has every minute you're just thinking about how cute it is. And you start off with no moves, and I mean that literally, you can't even jump. But as the adventure progresses, you unlock a variety of different abilities, including dashes, stomps, and the ability to float with a little balloon, kind of like how Yoshi flutters his legs. These different moves add a lot to the gameplay, and you also get some vehicle sections and other challenges to mix things up. It's definitely a little bit on the easy side, but that's okay. It's still really fun, and it never really gets talked about, which is a shame because it's an adorable game. It's great for kids, but veterans will find a lot here to enjoy as well. I think our next game on the list, Golden Force, is probably the least known. I don't think I've ever heard anybody really talk about it, and it's still pretty cheap on eBay. You could easily find a copy for somewhere between $25 and $30. It's a 2D platformer that feels a lot like an old arcade game. You could choose from 4 characters, including one that looks exactly like Link, and another that looks exactly like Shantae, but the differences in the characters are strictly cosmetic. All of them play basically the same, with a simple moveset consisting of an attack dash, special attack, and slide. The game offers local co-op of up to 2 players. It takes you through 4 worlds with 4 levels each, along with some unlockable bonus worlds. The graphics are great, bright, colorful, good sprite work, and like I said, it would fit right at home in an arcade. It kind of reminds me of the old Willow arcade game, if you ever played that. I love that game. The gameplay is simple enough. You run through levels, attacking enemies with a simple 3 or 4 hit combo, but it's oddly satisfying. I like the sound effects when you hit enemies, and they often explode in piles of blood and gold, which can be used in shops to buy things between levels. Most of it's actually pretty useless though, outside of the health upgrades. It's a really challenging game. There are checkpoints, but you lose your gold when you die, so it's not without a consequence. This kind of stinks, as it makes it much harder to purchase the upgrades unless you play really well, which very often I did not. But the level design is really good, and it kept me coming back for more. I always enjoy a good challenging platformer, and I never felt it was cheap, but it is tough. There are also bosses. These are terrific. They're huge screen-filling monstrosities that are difficult but learnable. I thought they were all really well done, and one of the highlights of the game for me. I really enjoyed this game. It's not the best on the system, but it's kind of a hidden gem. Its fun, simple gameplay gives off a nice arcadey vibe, and the challenge keeps it interesting even if the mechanics themselves are pretty simple. I love the fact we're at the point where not only do we see indie games that draw heavy inspiration from retro games, but we also are starting to see indie games that draw heavy inspiration from other retro indie games. Our next game, Batboy, is an incredible platform that clearly draws a ton of inspiration from Shovel Knight. Its graphic style is very similar. The basic layout of it is also similar with the way the world map looks and operates. The soundtrack is incredible, and even some of the mechanics are the same, like the ability to pogo stick off of enemies. But it adds enough new into the mix to make it its own thing, and really something worth checking out. You play as a baseball player, hanging out with your friends who all play other sports. A demon appears and transfers you all to a different realm, where they are all brainwashed. You then embark on a mission to rescue them, which involves bashing them with your baseball bat in the head until they come to their senses. Once they do, they teach you one of their skills, kind of like Mega Man, only with a sports theme. These different abilities were all really fun to use, and they add to both the platforming as well as the combat. I think they really nailed the theme. The basketball player teaches you a range shot, the football player teaches you a charge tackle. All of the moves are appropriate from their source, and it's just a really cool idea that you don't see often. The boss fights are spectacular, typically multi-phase and pretty challenging, but it's also cool previewing the moves you get before you beat the boss. The challenge level is pretty high, but the checkpoints are frequent enough to avoid frustration, and the game is just excellent. Definitely my favorite on this list. I actually played the game on Steam around the time of its release, but it was so good I double dipped for the physical. Fans of Shovel Knight or platforms in general definitely need to check this game out. Kemono Heroes was a game that was recommended to me in the comment section of one of my videos. It looked really cool, so I decided to check it out, and I definitely was not disappointed. You play as one of 4 animal characters, each with unique special ability. They have some common attacks like a basic sword, which feels a lot like Strider, as well as unlimited throwing kunai, which can be aimed in 8 directions. As you progress through the levels, you unlock some new tools like a grappling hook and bombs, as well as amass gold that can be spent in shops to increase the power of your weapons, maximum health, and maximum magic. The action here is pretty fast. There are enemies everywhere, level design is interesting with a number of cool backgrounds and fun gimmicks, like a shmup stage. The campaign is short, 4 worlds with 3 levels each. It took me about an hour on my first playthrough, but after you defeat the final boss, the game pulls a ghosts and goblins on you and sends you back to the beginning, making you replay the whole game. The levels do introduce some new twists and gimmicks. They're generally a little harder, and the bosses tend to be a bit more frantic as well. I did think the game was on the easy side, but it offers 4-player co-op, and it's a lot of fun. This is the kind of game where you can just kind of zone out with and have a good time without having to worry about getting frustrated, and I'm sure it's even better if you play with some friends. Nikoderiko has you playing as a pair of mongooses, or is it mongoose? I don't know. What I do know is that this game does not nearly get the amount of love it deserves. It takes some of the best elements of Donkey Kong Country and mixes in a dash of Crash Bandicoot. Most of the game takes place as a 2D platformer, and you see a lot of Donkey Kong Country inspiration. There are barrels that shoot you out, minecart levels, 4 letters to collect that spell Nico, and animal friends to ride. These animals were fun and include stuff like a fireball spitting frog, a Yoshi-like dinosaur that eats everything and spits it out, and a laser beam blasting seahorse. You could buy them between levels of storing your inventory, and you could summon them as needed, although there are some sections they can't be used. Play will also randomly switch to a pseudo 3D platformer, kind of like Crash Bandicoot. These are really fun, but not used as often as I would have liked. There are a ton of collectibles. Money and bottles are used to purchase things, coins used to buy mounts, keys used to unlock hidden levels, diamonds needed to get the true ending, and 4 letters which I think do absolutely nothing and they're just there to collect. I'm not normally a completionist, but the secrets are so cleverly hidden and fun that I actually did 100% this game, which almost never happens for me. I feel like this game had a little fanfare upon its release, but no one really talks about it anymore, and that's a shame because it's a great game and will definitely scratch that itch left behind by the absence of a new 2D Donkey Kong Country game.